My name is Jeff Rice. I'm the market specialist for FMC in the Mid-Atlantic region. And we're looking forward to discussing Fairy Ring and our Fairy Ring Assurance program from FMC today. So during this webinar, we're going to talk about our two products that is part of our Fairy Ring Assurance program, which is Fame SC and Kalida. Explain how those chemistries are a perfect fit for any Fairy Ring program, as well as other disease prevention and control. And we're going to talk about fairy ring biology and how to prevent fairy ring and how to best control it once you do have fairy ring symptoms with this cost-effective season-long program. So next slide, please.
And I will say I was remiss. I did not do a safety share. Our safety share today is it's summertime. Please use sunscreen. Let's try to stave off skin cancer as long as we can.
All right, so fairy ring biology is a very unique disease out there in turf. Unlike most diseases, this disease does not directly infect the turf itself. This is caused by Basidiomyces species, which there are many different species of this fungus that live in turf. It does not kill the turf directly, but it inhabits the thatch. It feeds on organic matter in the soil. And as that fungus grows, it can cause symptoms in the soil that cause stress to the plant and can cause either a flush of plant growth or can cause death of the plant, depending on the type of Basidiomyces that we're seeing. So this fungus normally starts growing in the cooler periods of the springtime when soil temperatures are just warming up, but you'll start seeing symptoms around now. Once it starts getting hot and dry, that these symptoms really start showing themselves in the summertime, especially with drought or poor irrigation or fertility. Lack of aerification can make these symptoms worse. There's three types of fairy ring, depending on the type of fungus that is present and how they are feeding on the turf. So type 1 fairy rings produce a necrotic ring or cause death in the ring as that fungus is feeding on the organic matter. It causes a hydrophobic ring in the turf, in the soil. And because that soil can't be wet by irrigation or rainfall, that turf can die in that ring as it loses moisture. The second type is actually a dark ring where that fungus is feeding on organic matter. It releases nitrogen in the soil, and you actually get a flush of growth on the outer ring where it's actually extra green and growing more vigorously. And then the third type, it's probably the most obvious type in what fairy ring is known for, is where it starts producing mushrooms in the ring and can be very disruptive visually to the turf and playability to a golf course. So next slide. So from a cultural standpoint, just like, any other disease or managing, healthy turf, you want to do whatever you can to make sure that turf is healthy. So adequate fertilizer, adequate irrigation is going to reduce the symptoms of this disease. Core aerification is extremely important to decrease thatch, increase water movement in the soil, reduce compaction. So since this disease feeds off organic matter, and specifically thatch can be one of those sources of organic matter, core aerification or dethatching is really going to help reduce those symptoms. And then wetting agents as well to help alleviate the hydrophobic conditions that the mycelium of the fairy ring can create, and being able to hand water these areas to fix the dry spots. Now, these are both preventative measures and helping for curative measures. So poor aerification can help eliminate the habitat and eliminate that thatch for the fungus can grow, but it's also going to help get these fungicides deeper into the soil to help with corrective measures. So anytime you can core aerate or maybe solid tine to break up that thatch, that's going to let these fungicides get deeper into the soil. And also wetting agents are going to help deliver that fungicide deeper into the soil and get to where the fungus is residing. So for chemical management, that's what we're really talking about today. Optimal timing of the first application is going to be when soil temperatures are just reaching 55 to 60 degrees in the spring, in the top 2 inches for 5 consecutive days. So if you get one warm day in the spring and then you go back to some cold weather, you're not going to want to apply right then. But in the mid-Atlantic this year, we had a very warm stretch of weather early in March. That got soil temperatures to 55, 60 degrees, even 65 degrees in middle of March throughout most of the mid-Atlantic. So that's where you want to be targeting that first application. I would say normally in a normal year in the mid-Atlantic, you're probably around that early to mid-April standpoint. But you really want to time that first application when the fungus first starts to grow to knock it back before it can really take hold and before you start seeing symptoms. So in our program and many other programs from other manufacturers, we recommend 3 or more applications, preventative applications in the spring to prevent symptoms from showing up in the summer when things start getting hot and stressful. And again, you really want to use a higher volume of water to get this active ingredient into the soil through the thatch to get where the fungus grows. So 3 to 4 gallons per thousand, and or irrigating immediately following application. So if you can't get 3 to 4 gallons per thousand spray volume and you can do 2, but you can run a tenth to an eighth of an inch of irrigation immediately following, that's going to move that active ingredient into the soil. And again, tank mixing with a wetting agent is also going to help move that product through the thatch and deeper into the soil where the fungus is present. Next slide. So our first product is Fame SC. Fame is our advanced strobilurin product. It's advanced and unlike any other strobilurin on the market. What sets this apart is the fluorine molecule in this chemical that makes it more active in the plant, that allows it to be more systemic in the plant, moves through the leaf tissue better, and is going to be very mobile in the xylem. So in an application like this for fairy ring, where we're watering this product in to go after the fairy ring, you're not just going to have to settle for fairy ring control. This product is still going to move up through the roots of the plant, and you're still going to get foliar control of brown patch, dollar spot, and any of those foliar diseases because of the mobility of this plant. Comparing it to trifloxystrobin or pyraclostrobin, which are more localized penetrant products, you're only going, if you water this product in, you're really only protecting the roots, where with floxystrobin, you're going to get full plant coverage of root pathogens like fairy ring or Pythium root dysfunction or summer patch, and also get control of foliar diseases. And unlike azoxystrobin, you're also going to get dollar spot control from fluoxystrobin or Fame. So you're going to get the most broad spectrum control, not just a fairy ring, but all the other diseases that you're going to face in the spring and summer when you're making these applications. So next slide. Kalida is our other product. So Kalida is, unlike Fame, which is a strobilurin, Kalida is a premix of flutriafol, which is a DMI, and fluindapyr, which is an SDHI active ingredient. So between Fame and Kalida, you're getting 3 different active ingredients to attack this fairy ring, which is very important. As we talked about, there's many different species of Basidiomyces. So every species is a little bit different. It might react a little bit different to different active ingredients, where you're hitting this with 3 different active ingredients in the FMC program. So flutriafol, the DMI, very good on dollar spot, very good on green spot and other diseases. And then fluindapyr is very strong on brown patch. You put them together and they get even more benefits than either one of them on their own. So you get a broad spectrum of disease control from both Kalida and Fame. So again, you're applying this material. Flutriafol is also very soluble and readily systemic in the plant. So you're watering in Kalida, you're getting the fairy ring control, but you're also getting control of all these other listed diseases on the right. As it moves up through the plant, you're getting both root pathogens and foliar pathogens. So when you're doing an FMC fairy ring program, you're not just attacking fairy ring, you're attacking a whole broad spectrum of diseases. So you're getting more bang for your buck, not just attacking one disease, but attacking everything that you might be facing in times like this where it's 95 degrees every day and you've got a lot of disease pressure from various pathogens. Next slide. So here's our program. So depending on where you are in the country is going to determine how many applications you need. Up here, I'm kind of in the transition zone. Here in the mid-Atlantic, we do have some warm season turf. We have some warm season fairways, but mostly cool season rough and greens. And as we head up into New England or the Great Lakes, where you see mostly cool season turf, we only require 3 applications. So you're going to start, you can pick either fungicide to start, either Fame or Kalida. Then you're going to alternate your chemistry. So if you started with Kalida, around that 55, 60 degree soil temps, 28 days later, you're going to follow it up with Fame. And then 28 days after that, you're going to follow up with Kalida. So again, in this mid-Atlantic region, maybe in New England area, you're starting these applications late March into April. You're going to follow up the next application into May, and then the final application into June for a preventative program. Now, these timings are going to shift as you go further south. And this is why you get more applications further south you go. You're going to have to start this program a little bit earlier with warmer temps on warm season turf. Again, around 55 to 60 degrees. You're going to follow every 28 days for 4 applications in that mid-south region, southern area, the transition zone south. And then as you go to the extreme south, South Florida, or Florida, South Texas, Gulf Coast areas, it's going to take that additional application because you have that longer growing season under the severe pressure from fairy ring. So go ahead with next slide. So just reviewing some of the results here from various trials we've had around the country. This first trial was at Ohio State, and this is on a 007 bentgrass green. And these are curative applications. So we've been talking a lot about preventative applications starting earlier in the season, but yesterday was the summer solstice. We're into summer now. If you did not treat for fairy ring in the spring, or maybe you used someone else's program, and you're not happy with your results, or all of a sudden you had a fairy ring outbreak that you've never had before in the past and you need to treat curatively, this result shows disease severity from various programs, and FMC's 2 programs there are the first 2 bar graphs on the left showing very good control. Kalida as the first application, followed by Fame actually showing the best control in this application. These initial applications were in May on 28-day intervals. So this was late May, then late June, and then mid-July with these 3 applications, and showing very strong control even 72 and 86 days later. So you're getting very strong control 3 months after application. Go ahead with the next slide. And here's some pictures again from a bentgrass. This is a bentgrass fairway trial at Purdue University, showing an untreated control on the top left, Fame first, followed by Kalida, the top center, and then Kalida followed by Fame on the top right. Again, we're seeing good results from both programs, but even better results with Kalida first, followed by Fame, and then comparing it to the other 2 competitive programs. The other thing I'd really like to point out on this is you see in the bottom left, this was again a curative application starting on June 13th. The second application scheduled for July 11th, and these pictures were taken July 10th. So these pictures of Fame and Kalida were just 1 application providing that good of control. So 1 application of Kalida shows very strong control as a curative option on fairy ring, and then you're going to be following up with those other applications to make sure you keep knocking it back for full curative control. So go ahead with the next slide. So again, another curative trial, but now we're switching gears to Bermuda grass. This is at Virginia Tech on some Tiff Eagle greens. Again, a curative program where these applications were started on July 22nd. Very high disease pressure, as you see on the untreated plots, 80% disease pressure. And in the Fame plot, even started with 90+% disease pressure. And these applications knocked that down rapidly, down to 50%, down to 20%, down to less than 10% with the Fame first application. And again, Kalida first, showing even stronger control after a couple applications down to almost 0% disease pressure. So as a curative program, both of these programs showing very good results, and Kalida showing even the strongest results with Kalida first as the first application, followed by Fame. Go ahead with the next slide. So one thing we also want to point out with our program compared to some of the others, it's not just the fairy ring control that you're looking for. You also want overall turf quality. So what's great about our program with Fame, Fame being a strobilurin has the plant health benefits. It's not just disease control. You get plant health benefits, less plant stress, better rooting. Overall plant health improves with applications of Fame. And also with Kalida, the flutriafol that's in Kalida is a new generation DMI that does not have the phytotoxicity or growth regulation that you fear, especially in the summer with hot applications that you do with some older DMI technologies. So some of these other programs have some of those older, more harsh DMIs in it. And even if they provided very strong fairy ring control, the overall turf quality with putting down repeat applications of these very harsh old DMIs affected the overall turf quality. So with our program, with Fame and Kalida, you're not only curing the disease, but it's very safe to the turf and the overall turf quality, especially on greens in the heat of the summer, you're protecting that quality. So go ahead with the next slide. So this is in my region. This is at Ledge Rock Country Club. This is in Southwest Pennsylvania. So again, you know, under some very hot conditions in the middle of the summer. These applications started on July 13th. As you can see in that first photo, this is a curative application, some pretty severe fairy ring, you know, a lot of that dark, lush, flush of growth on the outside of the rings. And then you see a little bit on that middle, little bit to the right of the photo, one ring where you're getting some turf death there from, it looks like some hydrophobicity caused by that fairy ring. They did curative applications, and you see this was the Kalida followed by Fame application. And then this second photo was at the end of August. So that's about 45 days later. That's after two applications, one application of Kalida, one application of Fame. And that fairy ring is very much cleared up. I'd also like to point out, you can see in that second photo, all the darker green polka dots on that green, that they obviously did an aerification during this period of time. I'm not sure if it was a coring or a solid tining, but that is also very beneficial, not only to eliminating the thatch, but also helping that product move down through the thatch to get to where the fungus resides. So anytime you can do a needle tine, or an aerification to help move this product through. I know that's a standard practice here in the mid-Atlantic to do some venting of greens in the heat of the summer. If you can do a little ninja tine or, you know, a 1/4 inch needle solid tine, that's going to help improve turf health and allow these applications to get down through the thatch. Again, mixing with wetting agent as well will help improve not only the symptoms, but the effectiveness of the applications. Go ahead with the next slide. So again, just to review the program, you know, 3 applications in the cool season areas, 4 applications or 5 applications as you move further south. Another nice selling point here is the cost of our program controlled to the cost of some of the other programs that are out there. This is a very cost-effective application for curative control or preventative control. And the nice thing here, again, I think we've shown multiple slides with results and photos that Kalida followed by Fame, followed by Kalida, is showing very strong results. And that is actually a little bit less expensive program than the Fame program. But just keep in mind, you're not just treating for fairy ring, you're treating for all turf diseases, especially in a curative application, late June, July, August, when it's hot. You know, Fame first. Fame, you're going to pick up Pythium root dysfunction. You're going to get plant health benefits. So pick and choose what program you like, not just for fairy ring control, but also some of the other diseases you're going to be facing in the heat of the summer and what you think is going to be best for your overall plant health. So keep those other diseases in mind. Both products have broad spectrum disease control, but Fame's going to give you a little bit more for Pythium prevention, Pythium root dysfunction, etc.
Thank you for everybody coming today. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Nathan, for being on here. And we appreciate your attendance.